here and good morning. Let's tell us, Peanut. Let's tell us.
Yes, talking about falling standard of education.
Yeah.
You have mentioned some of the issues that erupt on daily basis, and I want to say just a little wonder now why these Gen Z people, is it Gen Z generation, will be calling education scam.
I heard about that word. I heard about it. In fact, some persons have turned it into a music, a song, that education is a scam. We're going to be looking at why. Sometimes if you look at the issues, how somebody you really want to get grounded in school, you go. Sometimes the issue of lecturers sorting, why they do that. A child goes to really learn and then is being confronted with the sorting, the textbook. If you don't get my textbook, you will not pass your exam, even when the knowledge is there. You know, the issues are
realistic. Is much, but then I think everybody has for the success of this outing. That is when you hear whatever will be taught you today by our seasoned guests that will be dishing out a lot and trying to correct the so-called norm, the misnomer that is gradually becoming a norm. I think if you apply everything we are going to hear today, you see that you have a role, we have a role, the authority have their role. So it's holistic. It's something that everybody has a role to play, to correct, and so that notion, that narrative by the young people saying that education is a scam will not be there. It will be erased completely. It's not supposed to be there. It's education. It's scam. Let me ask you.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're going to talk about it. Anyway, we'll take this feature on the education system. Our educational system will take a feature on it, and then we'll delve into the discussion proper. Talk about most of the issues that we have raised there and lots more. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
We attended public schools and we had everything. We were given quality education. But in fact, at the age, at the level of, let's say, primary 3, in fact, you could do anything that an educated person is expected to do.
The hard system was structured, was one that gave, even though that did what they call the standard 6, the opportunity to excel. They were they seem to be better than the secondary school children have today, because they could write effectively, they could also speak effectively. And that system continued for some time until all the other changes that affected Nigeria's different sectors also started affecting the educational system.
Education is the bedrock of knowledge, and knowledge is the pathway to empowerment. Every nation that has achieved sustainable development did so by first investing in its educational system. From the four walls of the classroom, ideas are shaped, skills are formed, and the future of a country is prepared. In Nigeria, education plays a critical role in national development. It equips young people with skills for employment, promotes innovation, reduces poverty, and builds informed citizens who can contribute meaningfully to society. An educated population strengthens democracy, improves health outcomes, and drives economic growth.
The educational sector was prioritized. Teachers were well, paid according to the standards at that time. They were given really the privilege as people who are important in society. Students, things were done on merit. Let's put it that way. Everything was done on merit. If you are qualified, you are given the role that is due to you. And then, so at that point, but everything was done based on merit. Admission was done on merit, based on your qualification, and so merit was the basis.
If you look at what about the staff, members of staff, yes, we had foreigners who were once members of staff in these universities who were impacting. But today, we can hardly find those who are not Nigerians lecturing in our universities. Even in secondary schools, I knew that I was taught by a white man. And today, I go to that same secondary school, I can't find any. So what has happened? We have missed it over the years.
However, growing concerns now surround our educational system. Many students increasingly describe education as a scam, not because learning is useless, but because of the challenges they experience.
The ASUU strike stops students from learning sometimes, and sometimes in our educational facilities, the environment sometimes is not really conducive. We'll be like 300 more different departments in a class, and the lecturer is not able to hear us, public address system are not there. So we really need to work on that. So like Nigeria's government should focus on the educational sector, because that's where our future is coming from.
When you fund education very well, you will have this same scenario that I painted earlier coming up again, where we have people from other areas, from other walks of life, from other nations coming to get educated here. And when you fund education, you have good infrastructure. You pay your teachers very well. And when you have good infrastructure and you pay your teachers very well, you find out that there will be a lot of solutions. For instance, laboratories will work well. So the scientists in the laboratories will be able to develop, and you will be innovative, and you can find solutions to certain challenges that are plaguing us today. The educational system has been starved of funds. That's a germane issue. And I think another issue is the fact that those who are qualified may not have been given the position to head certain critical sectors in the educational sector. Because if you put a square peg in a round hole, you don't expect to get a very good result. So people who are being put in those positions, maybe, I'm not saying of a certainty, but I think that could also be a problem, and not supposed to be there. We're supposed to have seasoned educationists to be manning our educational sector.
A system that had good policies on paper, but very poor implementation. That is, and then there was no maintenance culture. The infrastructures were decaying. There was no motivation on the part of those who are teaching the teachers. Their values started, they continued to degrade. The lesson that sometimes people started at a point, people started looking down on teachers. When the politicians want to grow any sector of the economy, they find the teachers very easy to grow. And this is demoralize the teachers. They were not actually giving in their best to the system, and the system was also not taking care of them and the children. And so those things, in those days, those who were indigent had the opportunity of going to school through scholarship, and this is the system that gave people of those opportunities were very fair, very transparent. And but as time goes on, those things started changing. In fact, when you talk about scholarship today, you know that also the children of the rich, and the way to do that assess those things. So those medias are not given that opportunity to assess such government facilities and policies. So these are some of the issues. The infrastructure started decaying. You get to schools, there are no seats, books are not there. Where they are available, they are very expensive. In those days, I remember that when we were in the primary school, we were receiving free pencils and free exercise books, free textbooks, readers we had. But at a point, sometimes people were going home with them, and some other times, you read and return. At the end of the session, you read and return the books. But these days, those things, as time goes on, those things are no longer there.
Maybe one of the things that motivated us to really be serious with our studies would be the fact that during the result giving day, the day that the results will be announced, if you are the best in the class, in such an exalted assembly, so to speak, the headmaster or the principal will stand there to call your name, and you will come out and you'll be applauded. And then those who didn't do well, those who failed, it will also be announced. And of course, the next academic session, you will see them repeating that class. But these days, there is nothing like a pupil or student repeating any class. Because those in the private school sector, nobody fails. In fact, somebody told me, I don't know how true it is, but there could be elements of truth in it. Somebody told me that every result, every pupil's result is computed, according to what the school authority or the proprietor wants. That a parent will say, after paying such a huge amount of money as school fees, and you will tell me that my child or my ward did not pass, you will tell me that my ward is going to repeat the class. It's not done. And of course, because they know that if they say, if parents and guidance hear that, those in All Saints Institute, all of them, they are doing well, they are A students, B students, their neighbors will bring their own children there too.
When students graduate without practical skills or clear opportunities, frustration sets in. This discouragement weakens trust in the system and affects the quality of learning outcomes. To check these challenges, deliberate actions must be taken.
It is for all of us to be conscious of what we are doing, to think about the best for our system, to think about the future generation, because what we are doing now will really affect the future. So we are looking at the children who are going to take over tomorrow. What kind of legacies are we bequeathing to them educationally? What can they boost off? Can they cope with their next, outside the shores of Nigeria? Are we providing the necessary infrastructure? Let there be serious attention paid to the educational sector. Let the infrastructure be provided by those in charge. Let a salary of teachers be paid. Let their promotion come on time, and when they come, conversions and so on and so forth. Provide incentives, provide motivational issues that will help the teachers to understand that they are valued, and then they put in their best. When you are not getting the best out of the system, there is a change. Naturally, a change involves getting equal value for what you are giving. Once you are not getting equal value for what you are giving, you are not likely to be motivated to give your best in that situation.
So one, government must fund education. Secondly, my solution will revolve around government. Secondly, government must cease to interfere with policies of education in Nigeria. By ceasing to interfere, I mean when it comes to appointments of executive officers in the educational sector, vice chancellors, directors, let due process be followed so that those who are qualified will get the position. When it comes to employment, government must ensure that the right thing is done, devoid of any political sentiments or any ethnic affinity. Let square pegs be put in square holes, or round pegs in round holes, as they call it. So we shouldn't have a situation where there is so much interference such that the right thing is not done. Then, of course, we will not hide the fact that those who are teachers or educationists must also strive to improve. That one is there. But if the environment is okay, these persons will strive. Because research is not done with empty stomach. You need money to do research. So everything boils down to government. When government does their part, then I am very, very sure that academics, teachers, and the educational sector will work well.
Education is not a scam. A weak system may fail, but knowledge remains powerful. When properly nurtured, education remains the strongest foundation for individual empowerment and national development.
on is Good Morning Port Harcourt, where we give you trendings, and we earlier told you that we're going to be talking about our educational system. There's been lots of concern coming from that end, looking at some of the challenges that we're having, from welfare system to infrastructure, equipment, and all that. So in the studio we have two guests that are going to be telling us with lots and lots from their wealth of wisdom to tell us lots what's happening from that end and some of the challenges and the solution with our educational system. With me from my right, from my far left, I have Mr. Ruskin Amadi. He is an educationist, director, Divine Favor Academy, Rumaholu. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. And then I have Dr. Tamino Iwuna. Yeah, I have Dr. Tamino Iwuna. He is from RSUS. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, I'm very interested. Before we started this, we've had a lot of discussion on this. This is it's going to be very interesting to talk about, because there's a lot of concern coming in from the educational angle. Some people say right now that education is a scam. Some people are diversifying into skills instead of getting really educated. So let's start with you, Ruskin. At the end of the day, education is the bedrock. At the end of the day, just more reasons emphasize on why education.
What's education? Or turn it the other way around, who is an educated person? And that's where most of them think that it's a scam. It's not a scam. Educated person is that person who acquires knowledge and return to use that knowledge to help society and also help himself or herself. And so whatever you are going to study, whatever knowledge you are going to acquire, for the fact that it has to go through a specific process depending on what you are looking at, that is what we mean by going to school. So a school will now regiment it. All right, so okay, you can't acquire the whole knowledge in the world. This is philosophy, this is English studies, this is literature, this is that, this is law, this is this. Even within those specific courses, you have to also be specified, specialize. Okay, let me take English studies, which I study, for instance. At the time, in final year, we were given two options. One, language of journalism. The other one is children literature. I remember Sefa Kore was language of journalism, and what Mama Feminism, Professor Helen Chukuma, was not children literature. If I had known them, I would have attended that class of children literature. But I just opted for journalism, and it paid me to be a senior journalist. But now that I'm a writer, I cannot write in that children language. I have to now go back to my wife, who has been a teacher for a very long time, to teach me how to write one sentence, like the 10 stories in the children listen. So, what am I saying in effect?
Yeah.
Education is the bedrock. All right? People think that once you're educated, you make money. No, it's not correct. It is what you do with the education that makes you become a millionaire or not.
That's vital, very important.
Very important. And so that's why people are thinking that, oh, once you go to university, no. After the university or wherever you went to study, like carpentry, for instance, you finish carpentry, you've learned it. Now, are you able to design chairs, furniture that are up to date? How will I design my own chair that will make it different from the other person's own? That is what makes education a scam to you and not a scam to me and not a scam to the whole world. Because without education, you go nowhere.
So I'd like you to share your thoughts in this regard. And while you're doing that, I would want you also to talk about some of the issues faced by the educational sector, particularly in our society here. Let's just come down to the states, Rivers State.
Yeah.
Okay. And first of all, education, I will always say education is the stepping stone. You went to school doesn't mean that you make money. You need to now apply whatever you have learned in school. sometimes people deviate from what they have studied in school. But because they are educated, they are able to make things work out. Now let's take the instance of two persons. One who went to learn carpentry after primary school, and somebody who graduated from university and went to learn carpentry. They are two different people.
Yes.
The other man will know a way to get his product to the internet, create a market online, and all that, and reach out to more persons. Meanwhile, the other one will still be there. I have a friend who learned styling. He had HND. His master who taught him couldn't even write his name. Today he's a big boy because he could tender quotations and all that. Meanwhile, his master is still working daily pay. So that's the difference between the having education and not having education in our background. Now, if you look at what the society is seeing about education today, our young people believe it's a scam because they expect ready-made jobs. Like in those days, there were ready-made jobs. Now there are no ready-made jobs. You need to create something for yourself.
Exactly.
The smartphones are there for you to even create something for yourself online. The skit makers, the content creators and all that. It's education. It's because they are educated. Because they know how to make use of what they were taught in school. Okay, Bakassi, the comedian, holds a master's degree in mechanical engineering. But today, see where he is. Lepashos Bosse also is a lawyer, but see where she is. So that is it. So people use education to create jobs for themselves and for the society, and also help the society. Then again, the society and education, they are also the government policies. Let's take River State for example. You go to secondary schools. Okay, let me take GTC Port Harcourt, which was my school. In those days, companies come there to take workshop hands once you graduate, because for you to go to GTC Port Harcourt or GTC Bori, GTC Tombia, GTC Agoda or GTC Iba, you must have done your finished secondary school, go there and you graduate and have City and Guilds of London. Now you go there and you learn different trades. I remember that my principal usually have contracts from companies and bring it and use it as practical for students.
Wow.
And they deliver. Now, those things are no longer there. The machines that are left behind are dilapidated. So it's left for the society or for the government to that's why I keep saying funding for the government to fund these sectors and make sure that things are done right. Now, if you come to the university also, children who graduate and don't even know anything about practicality in their field, if the government decide to bring in the technical school pattern or standard into university, it will pay better. It will pay better because you are doing practical and at the same time doing your theory, or do it in such a way that these children are sent to their area of specialization. You still come to school and learn this trade so that by the time you graduate, you be a master.
You know, let me come in there. This issue he just raised, there are a lot of people that are coming on the internet to agitate for this. The reason is because back in the days when we did our own schooling, after school we were sent to go and do our industrial training. We go to different places. In fact, sometimes you have to really scout for the place to go.
Yes.
You understand? Back in the days, in your time, it wasn't like that. You see people come to absorb you. But now, by the time you finish your industrial training, you finish your school, you're still going back to learn what you would have learned, practically speaking, in your school.
So this idea he's bringing, Ruskin, I want you to, put in your, talk on that.
Yes, one of the problems that we are facing is misconception. I want to urge Nigerians, especially the youths, to understand that society is always divided. All right? Now, there are a group of people who, because they cannot, in their own thinking, make it to school, they are not taken to making quick money. And so, when they see you going, quietly, so that you become somebody in future, they try to poison your heart by pointing out one or two errors, one or two shortcomings. It's left for you to tell them, no, get behind me, Satan. Because one day I was moving in the street, I don't call the place. Then this hotel where our pressing phone people gather and all that, So some group of guests came out there and began to celebrate. Oh, I'm enjoying. Oh, they are popping drinks and all that. And suddenly, every person started watching them, clapping for them, and feeling that, oh, they're enjoying. Then I said, hey, go pop champagne for that man body. I said, how dare you? Don't try that rubbish. I said, hey, I didn't leave and go, and then they suffer. I said, sorry. I said, sorry for you. Sorry for you. Nobody that has money, that has a good feature, that knows that this money will last in his or her hand, will come out on the street and celebrate the way you're celebrating. There are people who just want to make you feel bad. Let's be very frank.
For doing the right thing.
For doing the right thing, sir. Thank you. If you want to get educated, you must pay the price. You must attend classes. Like Doc said, lecturers will bully you. It's part of the system, part of the process. Those are the spices that make your life good. I was in University of Port Harcourt. We were asked to write short story, 30%. I finished writing mine, I submitted. At the point of reading them, first, second, third, fourth to 11%, lecturer was still not satisfied. So what is this? It's either poem or something. When I mounted the podium and I read my poem, which is one of my best poems today, the ex-president's photograph. When I finished reading, the lecturer was clapping. And I said, okay, what's your name? I told him. He looked at the list. He said, I don't have Ruskin Amadi here. And I was the department president. Exactly what the class did. So what's happening here? I said, okay, Amadi. He checked Amadi. Amadi is not here. I said, okay, yes, son. He checked the number. So I checked where.
The check where.
And you're not a member of my class. Wow. Presido. It's in my anecdotes. This story is my anecdotes. Presido. I said, please, that is for your union. Right here, any day you buy this book, 2 pieces of books. That is the day a member of my class. Have you brought them as soon as I take it out?
What?
Yes, and I walked out.
Are you serious?
Yes. But today, I praised my lecturer, INC and Nebo. He made me a gracious story writer, a great poet. Alright? I had to go and look for 280 naira at that time to buy those 2 books. So, like he said, those are things that made me, and I said, what makes this man important? Okay, because he's a master short story writer. I will be a short story writer like him. And I said, this poem, I put it in my kitties.
But let me come in there. While we're just talking, there was something he raised that I really wanted us to talk about. The issue of making our universities to be technical. There's something he's talked about where it will be a ground where you are learning your core factor, core study, whatever you want to study. It's not going to be only theory. It's going to be basic on practical. He raised something like that. Yes. Is that realistic?
Yes, it's realistic. When we go to our practical, it's not only bringing nail and hammer to write together. No. Like if you're studying journalism, for instance, Okay, there are rules for IT when I was in civil, and we teach them. But like I said earlier on, the problem is holistical. It's not even the government. The society has their own, like I told that story, how they were celebrating people who are nothing just because they have money. Society should stop that. They should go back to the basics. When a headmaster is revered, like my Mogogoro, late Gabriel Wale, he didn't teach me, but today he's revered in the Mogogoro community. They should go back to that time. Then the parents should also know that don't manage each other. Don't say so to a student or your child. What is the problem? Now listen to your lecturer and teacher. And the teacher should also know that no, don't carry your own frustration and put on these little children. We must marry all together. So there are practical, whether it is a course that doesn't have practical, like in physical practical. We should go back to that time when you are taught in practical terms. There are laboratories, okay? You go to IT, and the society should also welcome people too. But most times they send the children on IT. Their parents will say, after I don't get money, send it to school now, I can't go pay them to come send it to where I go, and then I stay for house. What are they going to teach you? Stay at home.
And they stay at home.
Stay at home. A situation where for 6 months they are there. What did they want to teach you? Then they use the local products.
They find someone who will stamp the IT.
Who will stamp and sign for them. So parents go and pay. Imagine where a child that is in a junior secondary, parents are going to pay bribe for them to sit for the junior secondary examination. What are you putting in the head of the child? I told some of them that I said, don't worry. When they reach a stage where your parents are not there
to help you,
nobody is there to help you out, then you will know. Like I told my daughter, I said, don't worry. One day I'm not going to get there. Then they went for one conference. The one just look at the name, Ruskin. He says, the man says, okay then, come this way. You can be in this committee. He said, my daddy had always said this. And she was made head of the committee. So she said, Dad, help me. Help me. Link me to my father. He said, my father taught me that anytime you are in a situation, even in a mission hall, use your mind that there is another name, another you in you. Use that power to conjure that issue and to come to you like a television. She said she just did it, and she just saw me teaching her, telling her what to do. I said that is the power of imaginative ability we have. We all, the society, the students themselves, the government must come. But the lead, the one that will lead it, is the government. As long as there's a new orientation, as long as there's will to do things aright, we will make it. They came up with something that was very fine. The government bowed. They called it post-jam test. I supported it. Reason being that, how can a child that does not do 2+2, how come you scored 90 in mathematics in JAM? Then you cannot do anything when the time comes. But suddenly, universities now saw it as another platform, another avenue to make revenue.
So it's really absurd. It's really absurd, because I was going to ask that. You are doing, because at the time there was nothing like post.
Yes.
We didn't have that, and I'm sure that students, we had more students reading, and we stuck to our books. But I stumbled into something recently, an article written by an academic students union of a particular institution, and they are trying to advise parents, teachers, that please, what they see in the school is something they cannot reckon with any longer. So what is that? I need you, doctor, to talk about, because I want to see how we can address a situation where a child or a student writes an exam, whether he or she wrote it himself, but you're seeing A1, mass A1, but you go to school, your statistics, your mass 101, you're not able to even solve a simple algebra. what do we make out of that? What do you think are the cause of all of this? And university academias are always they are talking today. Please, parents, teachers, play your role, and the students also play their role. But I want to hear from you, sir, as an experienced person in the academy.
Okay, first of all, during nowadays, you write WAEC. If you have 1 or 2 papers cutting you off, you come back to write. You write and write.
2 sittings.
Oloshenka wrote GC 5 times.
5 times.
Before he made his papers. And today, it's no longer like that.
It's no longer.
9 credits.
People don't read anymore. And once you make it a standard that you must have so and so, you must have so and so, then the society will start to rot. Parents don't want to see their children stay at home. In fact, they see their children staying at home as a burden. As a burden. And, well, as a parent, you won't be happy seeing your child staying at home when others are in school. So, they resort to what they call special centers. And those special centers, they tell you, if WAEC registration is 15,000, they tell you WAEC registration is 80,000, you pay. Then whenever they write, any day they write, you pay to sign. You pay to sign. I remember my son coming in to say, Daddy, I told them I'm not paying because I didn't join them. And I told him, you see what the society has done us to. They called me and reported. I said, well, me, I don't pay. Just like me as a lecturer, I don't collect from students. I don't. I can't see myself collecting money from children. What? I can't. Then what? Tomorrow, in future, what is in the what example have I?
And what you're saying is really rare.
Yes.
It's rare.
Yes.
That is the right thing.
Yes.
But it's very
rare. Now you see, parents paying. Like there are few schools that will still tell you they don't do special centers. There are. You go to Navy Secondary School, some schools, they don't do special center. If you see how Navy Secondary School arrange their student for WAEC, you'll be scared. They do that. Now, parents will start paying. In fact, what remains is for parents to come to the exam or come and write themselves.
They don't even know what to write. They don't go.
When Wike brought this issue of Real Madrid Academy, I went for a screening with my son. Then he was in JSS3. And he told, at the end of the day, he said, Daddy, I can't leave my JSS3 and come and start from JSS1 again because of academy. That's what he told me. But you see, parents paying, even when they were to write the exam, parents were paying bribe for their children to pass.
The same food.
The whole thing, apart from blaming the government, you blame parents.
Parents are
who are in a hurry.
In a very big hurry.
They're in a hurry to push their children out and all that. Instead of laying the right foundation for these children, so that tomorrow, when they are not there, people like us, our parents didn't know our schools.
For what?
Our parents didn't know our school. That's why one of my friends, when the child is in university and wants to go by, you carry the child to hostel. I said, no, you don't do that. Allow that child to experience the raw nature. So, parents, we need to blame parents on this issue. This issue, it is not the school. Then, if you're a proprietor of a school, the parents will tell you, I want this for my child, and you refuse. They will move that child to another school.
Immediately.
They will throw that child to another school.
You see a number falling.
So you see that even parents pay bribe for school to give their children an award in private schools.
I'm surprised.
I'm telling you. So you blame parents for this.
But if
especially our mothers. Our mothers are
not all mothers. Because when I read that, I read it out loudly to my children and telling them that I'm forwarding this to your school.
platform, which I did. In fact, the school administrator had to okay it and said, thank you, ma. Very noted. And I said, I will still go to tell them that if I hear that you're doing this, because the child will be writing junior WAEC in no distant time. If I hear that you do number 1A, number 2, I will pull this child. If you do it in your school, the child will leave the school.
I want the child to prove himself. Then you will know where to come in and help that child. If you know that child is not doing well in mathematics, you get a math teacher.
Obviously, we can see that the issues are, both from the system, both from the school, both from the parents. In fact, this one you're saying, I'm actually trying.
You don't even blame the school. You blame the parents. The parents who enforce it on the school.
Let's go back to the school now. While we're discussing, I raised issue about the recycling of textbooks, and I think that's for Ruskin to answer because he's from the private sector. Right, I have made a lot of investigations on this and discovered that I'm trying to find out back in the days. I remember Macmillan and all that. These are books that you use, your junior use, your senior use. It goes through generations and it's still relevant.
And your parents will say, keep it well.
Yes. But now the whole system has changed. In fact, on internet, we have parents that are lamenting that government should come. I want to ask you, Ruskin, you're from the private sector. At what point did this method, at what point did it change?
The truth of the matter is this, like Dr. was trying to explain, the quality of education dropped so much. And we are even going down the Dodro, going down River Road, going to Maja Maji, the East African writer. And if nothing is done, it will be into dark abscess. But say, God forbid. That's the prayer of a just man. Now, the language used in writing some of these books in the past, they say it's higher than the brain level of today's children. Why? Because we didn't do the writing. Then there was a vacuum. There was a vacuum. Otherwise, I'm a teacher. I kept my children, I kept for them business methods. I think Oniboneji or something. Imagine that was 1982, 83. Okay? And I kept it for over 50 years for them. When they brought their business studies, which they call it now, I tried to go through. So who wrote this book for secondary school pupils? So what kind of book is this? Empty. Nothing. I had to go back to that method down to use it to teach them.
So now, how do you address this recycling?
What were the problem? The problem is just that these ones now, there are modern machines that are not here. What the government should have done is to call eggheads. Like he said, vote at money, which is already budgeted for God's sake, to see that these other books are updated, not to ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry out there to begin to write books. Let me go to literature. I was shocked and dumbfounded. I want to mention the name of the book here. That such a book would be recommended for use for people in secondary school. See, there are certain errors that anybody who read English studies should not make. For instance, not on seat. Professor Kumoko will just cut off your head. What nonsense is that? What an on seat? Is that a preposition or something?
Yes.
But that author that they recommended his book used it more than 10 times in that book. What about random? Rather than Randolph.
Yeah.
Okay? What about next tomorrow?
And it's very common.
Very common. So now that they have imported those things, and I just finished teaching them English.
Well, you call that Nigerian English?
Yes.
But is there anything like
yes, Nigerian English? There is a department of Nigerian English. Yes, English in the University of Ibadan.
We argued it
yes.
during my own time, and I was one of those who said that should be Nigerian English. Okay. But for now, it has not been accepted, and we are still using the British curriculum.
But my issue is on the recycling.
So how come that?
Who authorized the recycling?
There is
the charge of the
Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Education. There is a department or parastatal, whatever they call them. Now, the PAMSEC also, I think they had the right to appoint me, for instance, to come and chairman that board. All right. Now we need fresh books for what do they have that for 2025 to 2030? It's 5 years. Now we need the ones to run from 2030 to 2035. They will begin now to do it. Now it's our duty to look at these books and see. Non-African poetry, for instance, these are the books that can be used. But the problem there is that because of that privilege and because of that craze for words,
people profiteer it.
People now profiteer it. Rather than going for the best,
doing the right thing,
they will now go for those who can grease their palm. So that is what we are having. But they have had problem with non-African African literature now, for instance, non-African drama. They can't do with Emile Shakespeare. So they have been trying what to do. I think it's difficult to pull it out. So did that keep Midsummer Night's Dream? Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, and all that. But when it comes to African this thing, that game starts. Now they have phased out Elitamade, Woloshenka, and all those other ones without really having replacements. A good replacement.
Let's begin to look at the solution. Let's wrap up. Yeah. Because I was sorry. Yes, let me know. Because you mentioned the PAMSEC, the Ministry of Education, the PAMSEC authorizing or appointing persons to that effect. Is it that these books that are brought in for a particular period of time, do they not also reflect or serve for other states? Because I used to think like senior WAEC, junior WAEC, if they are bringing out books for the school academic section for that year,
it's uniform.
Okay, it's universal, right?
Yes. The federal education, what it is this. Since it is like West Africa, for instance, are working together, all right? So they will liaise with all the Federal Ministry of Education in the West African region, okay? Then they work together and then recommend these books, okay? But what we are saying is that there's nothing wrong in doing that, but they shouldn't, sacrifice quality for what they are getting, especially for JSS1 to SS1, SS2, SS1 to SS2. That's where the state, so true. The state can have the right that is okay. See the way education is in the country. The federal is okay. This
wrapping up.
Yes. Let's do like this. Then the state cannot choose the one they can choose out of the ones recommended for that year. Then for this year, then next year, like that. But the fact is that they are jettisoning people who have written good books because they don't have access to them.
Whatever they want.
That is the problem.
So now changing the narrative now. What do we do? That's what she's asking. What do we do? And
there should be check and balance. In what?
How do we get back? Like she said, that is a focal point. That a book, this book, generation to generation, from one set of people to the other. I should read this book. The next set of people should read the same book, other than writing books that you write your answers. As in they give you assignment, you put your answers there inside the book so that other people.
The workbooks, they call them workbooks.
Okay, workbooks, yes. Nobody uses it again. It's not repeated. Somebody used this book and you have to buy that book for another child. That's what.
It's because these books lack quality. If these books are like literature in an area, for instance, a literary concubine is concubine at any time, any day, anywhere. She based
things fall apart. It's the same thing. You know, the same thing with the poetry. In the poetry session, they have been trying to like push out relationship, but it's difficult. Quite difficult, so they still try to bring it back. Like in this time, I saw them bringing Sutherland, what's the thing, Efra Sutherland, you know, and Marriage Banasawa. I said, my daughter, I have this book.
Marriage of
You know, and when I was teaching in the class, they said, sir, this book is good. We never used like this. And again, the type of teachers they employ, even the so-called private schools, if they bring out the money they are making and employ the right teachers,
The private schools are the worst.
they will teach the children well. But they are just like Doc said, they're just waiting for them to pay those money at the end. You are teaching a child in the class, and sleeping.
Okay, Rustin has said his own wrap up. Doc, just one word. Let's wrap up.
Okay, I would say that
Just one
we
word.
should, everything lies in the hands of the PAMSEC, Ministry of Education. If the authority can meet him and say, PAMSEC, this is what we've noticed. Is there anything you can do about that? Because it is the PAMSEC who gives the power to the private schools. And you look at, like I keep telling people, the government schools are still better than the private schools today.
That will be a discussion for another day.
Because what I said to you is that the least employment into government schools is AOD.
Thank you very much.
But for private schools, you have secondary school leavers who are teaching children.
We'll talk about that and talk about who is responsible for that. Okay, everyone. This is where we call it a wrap on this discussion. Obviously, this is a discussion that we still need to extend because of how vital it is, especially affecting our school system. Thank you very much. We have Dr. Jaja and then we have Ruskin. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the program continues. Is Good Morning Port Harcourt. We'll be right back. It's been a long ride, Queenette, having to talk a lot about our educational system in different perspective, a role. Everybody has a role to play, the teachers, the lecturers, the students, even the parents. While we talk about what the government has to do, everybody has a role to play. When you play your part, you do your part, everything becomes balanced. If not, the challenges, welfare system of the teachers, the lecturers, having equipped labs, making sure that the lecturers are, taken care of even after retirement. All of these are all important, but it's holistically speaking that everybody has a role to play.
Yeah, you have mentioned virtually everything, and then of course they are all sacrosanct to making the society a better place, because it's going to be a better place when the educational sector is fit and very strong, because education, no doubt, is the bedrock of the society.
Yes, it is. Okay, this is where we call it a wrap on Good Morning Port Harcourt. Same time, join us same time tomorrow. Wake up early and let's give you updated, get you updated. Okay, this is where we wrap up on the program Good Morning Port Harcourt. Join us same time tomorrow. Wake up early for more trendings and update on what's happening around our environment. My name is Fina Kennedy.
I am Queenette Queen saying wake up to Good Morning Port Harcourt tomorrow.
Yeah, bye-bye.
birthday is coming. And you're still thinking small? No hype, no crowd, no fun. It's time to level up with birthday bars. The biggest birthday show live on TV. Bring your cakes, snacks and drinks. We've got the vibe, we've got the crew and friends for you. Get your birthday tickets now. Adult celebrants 5,000 naira. Child celebrants 3,000 naira. Well wishers and other attendees 2,000 naira. Performances are games, shout-outs and you on TV. Showing live every last Saturday of the month at 12 noon on NTA Port Harcourt. For sponsorship, adverts or how to get your tickets, please call 080-370-69516 or 080-330-91338. Birthday bars, it's your day. Let's make it loud.
Okay, you will love this one. Oh yeah, oh my Jesus. Oh yeah, oh my Jesus. Oh yeah.